What's going on? I got my buddy Danny on today. How are you doing?
Great, great. How are you?
It's hot. It's like super hot up here in the Northeast, and you're down in Florida, right?
Yes, Miami.
Yeah. Is it like a million degrees down there, or is it just like typical weather?
It's both. It's a million degrees, and then there's like hurricane rain, and then it's like sunny, and then it's like rain again. It's all
Oh
over the
yeah,
place.
I love the chaos down in Florida.
Yep.
Thanks for hopping on. I appreciate you taking the time today. I know just before we started recording, I was kind of bouncing around our times, and I know I got a pretty busy day, and I want to be courteous of your time. So let's dive into it. Would you mind giving a little introduction about yourself and who it is you help?
Yes. So I'm Dani Rengifo. I am a paralegal in international tax law and estate planning, a Holiday Night in Miami. Um, I aside from working at 9 to 5, I also just became golf fitness certified. I picked it up during the pandemic. I've always played sports, but I grew an interest in it and I'm super passionate about it. And I'm trying to build a side hustle out of it.
Yeah, I love that. Um, so, what is the side hustle you're trying to build? Is it just golf fitness coaching?
So I'm trying to figure that out because just becoming certified in golf fitness sparked a lot of things. I feel like I want to do more than that aside from creating an online program, probably in other areas. Maybe like a line of clothing, like sports clothing, different things. I'm figuring that out as I go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. I don't know how you feel about this, but like I kind of look at like fitness and health, kind of like the gateway drug of business and entrepreneurship. You get moving, build up yourself physically stronger. You start feeling more confident. It opens doors for other things, other avenues, and same thing with fitness business. There's a lot of different streams of revenue that you can produce and branch off from the fitness world. Do you agree?
Totally, 100%. When I also became golf fitness certified, I became a certified nutrition coach. So I totally agree with that. It all plays out when it comes to like creating a business and all that. When you're working on your own health, on fitness, it definitely helps in every aspect of your life. And, learning about this, like I'm learning a lot about myself, working on myself, and it helps with the chaos of every day, like, working a 9 to 5 and like doing this, it definitely helps.
Yeah, I know when we first spoke not too long ago, you were telling me you got a lot of things going on. There's a lot of craziness with everything. You're kind of juggling a lot of stuff. Before
Yes.
we kind of dive into all that, would you mind kind of like giving a little bit of backstory? And so you're a paralegal. I know you were like different school and stuff like that. So start us back at where everything kind of began with your whole journey here.
And like in my life in general.
Yeah, if you want to, or if you just want to talk about just like with your fitness stuff, wherever you want to kind of go, just so we kind of can get to know you a little bit better.
Yeah, so I graduated from FIU. I was completely lost. I did not know what I wanted. And at the time, my mom was doing Uber, and she knew that I kind of wanted to move to New York, but I didn't like, I wanted to move for the wrong reasons. I had a boyfriend at the time. He was in finance, so like that would have worked out for him. But for me, it wouldn't have, which I'm glad I didn't. But I was just kind of going to move without like a plan, which again, you don't always need a plan, like a specific plan, but it's very important to go for yourself. And I feel like I wasn't, so I'm glad I didn't. But anyway, she was doing Uber and she picked up this woman who was the head of marketing at this firm called Baker McKenzie. And she was like, "Hey, my daughter has an interest in law. She doesn't like working in a law firm to like gain experience. She just graduated from FIU. Is it cool if she shoots her resume at you?" So she was like, "Absolutely." I tell her to, here's my email, whatever. I emailed her, did not hear back from her. I emailed again the next week. I did not hear back. I was like, okay, well, let me just be persistent. So I emailed her again, and it turns out that at the time I was emailing her, the managing partner had a heart attack, and she was the one arranging the the everything like for the funeral and all that. So that's why she wasn't getting back to me. But it's a good thing to always be persistent. So I emailed her a third time's the charm. She emailed
Yeah.
me back and asked me if I was interested in going to for an interview. I also, a little background story. I took Portuguese for 2 semesters at FIU before going to Brazil for the World Cup, and I was there for like a month. So I practiced it a lot. My first language is Spanish, so it's a lot easier for me. So the attorney that I was going to interview for, she's Portuguese, and like most of her clients speak solely Portuguese. So at the time, I was like, okay, I understand it, but like if I'm going to be speaking, if they want me to speak only Portuguese, I will be very honest with you. Um, I don't feel that comfortable. Like with, I don't want it to give you the wrong like idea that I can handle the language like at an expert level. So she was like, yeah, thank you for being honest, whatever. So I was gonna leave, and then Susie, the marketing woman that like got me the interview, she was like, well, there's this other partner. He's actually looking for a legal assistant. This was totally unplanned, but do you want to meet him? And I was like, sure. Um, and I walked in and I met my mentor and my boss till this day. Um, and I worked with him for a year and a half. I decided to go to law school. So I working 40 hours a week, I would go to UM and study for the LSAT. Put in my savings for this like LSAT prep course. And I got in, but I didn't get into the schools I wanted to. But at the same time, I was gonna go to a school. Like I had agreed. So when I made the decision to go, my boss decided to move his book of practice to Holland and I, which is where I work now. And he asked me, he was like, well, do you want to move with me? And I'm like, okay, well, I start law school next month. So it'll be like for uh, a month and a half. I don't know if that's worth it to you. And he was like, yeah, absolutely. Like, I need the help. Like, please. So, I got cold feet. Aside from getting cold feet and like feeling like I was not content with this whole idea because it wasn't the school I wanted. And it was just, I was doing it all. Like, it just didn't feel right. It didn't feel right. I went, I was pretty lost. I was going out drinking, making wrong decisions, and I got a DUI. So I think those things in life have to happen because, I mean, I'm looking at the perspective of it. I think it taught me a lot about myself. It made me realize this had to happen because, like, I did not want to do that. Like, I would have just probably gone to law school, probably gone to a school I didn't want to go, probably been miserable the whole time, and it taught me like a lot. It definitely restructured my life at that moment, and I stayed at Holland, and I during the pandemic I decided to become a paralegal, and I did it, and then I decided to, so I'm a legal assistant, but with becoming a paralegal I decided to stay in the firm because I love the firm. And but since I work in a different area of law, they were only hiring in real estate, and they wanted somebody with like 10 years of experience in real estate. So I got it for nothing, basically. Not really, but like I was like, okay, I guess this is not an option right now. So I'm saying, but at the same time, I was like, okay, I need to pick up like I need to pick up a hobby aside from going to the gym, aside from working out, like and I've always played sports, but so I decided to join a tennis league in Miami, and I met this girl, and we just started playing tennis sporadically, and she asked me if I was interested in playing golf, and I was like, okay, I find it extremely mundane. I have never found interest in golf, and which was unfair of me to say because I've never tried it, but to me it was just like, wow, there's like no motion in the sport. Like I played every sport, even like flag football. Um, and I took a class and I became obsessed with it. I started going every Wednesday. From my chaotic schedule, I would literally get out of the office and like go and do this clinic and like learn, and just became obsessed with it that I was like, okay, I don't want to work a 9 to 5 for the rest of my life. I want to have my own business and I want to do something that I'm passionate about. And I love golf. Um, and it's pretty rare that a Colombian golfer, like I feel like I can get girls to like golf. So um, I became golf fitness certified through NASM, and I joined the Ladies Executive Golf Society in Miami. and I'm just really involved in the golf world now. So now I'm at the point where it's like juggling my time, working a 9 to 5 and studying the golf concepts, which I mean, I'm gonna have to study that for the rest of my life because I know I want that. Um, but it's just like managing my time, and sometimes it gets really chaotic. Sometimes you want to like throw everything out the window, but then you're like, okay, no, this is like, I love this. Like, whenever you feel like it's so chaotic and you want to quit, is like when you should push even harder, I think. And I've never felt that way. Like, when I look at, I feel like I've done a lot of things in my life, but like, this is the one thing that like, it sparks something. And I know I want to have multiple side hustles like that. Um, it opens the
Yeah.
door for them. So I love that.
Yeah, I love what you said there about like when everything's chaotic, but you kind of get energized and a little bit motivated to continue going with it and pushing further because it is something that you love and enjoy. Like
Yeah,
I totally can relate to that. Like this morning, today my schedule is essentially back to back from like 5 a.m. to 7 p.m.
I
And like
noticed.
I don't even have time. Yeah, I don't even have time to have lunch today, or breakfast. So I'm just still running, 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 but I just love working with so many different people and helping them like working, doing everything you can. So I feel that too, where I'm continuously getting energized through the day, just connecting with people and helping people solve problems with whatever they might be working with. So I totally love that. And I really love how you kind of stumbled into golf and fell in love with that. And now you're kind of blending the fitness, the golf, and you still got like the whole executive thing going. And I'm really excited for you to kind of get your program rolling through because I know you're just going to excel with it and crush it. Um,
Yes. Thank you.
and I also loved how when you brought up the DUI thing because it depends. A lot of people because that really speaks volume to how your own personal perspective is on things because a lot of people think oh this happened to me blah 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 blah, but when you really shift it and look at it as this happened for me kind of a
Yeah.
situation, you can realize that it really ended up being a blessing. I have another client of mine who is a lawyer, and to be honest, they really don't like where they're at and they are always complaining and dreading it, and they say that they hate what they're doing. So I asked them one time, I'm like, if you weren't a lawyer, what would you be doing? And they said creative writing. And I was like, wow, well, do you write anything now? And they said, no, it's been forever since they were writing. And I was like, wow, here's this person who's super successful with this great, respectable job, making lots of money and a huge impact on everything. But they're feeling empty and pretty much hating life every day. And they don't even get to do like creative writing. I don't really know too much about creative writing, but I feel like it's something that you could continue to practice with a little bit of free time that you have. But they're so trapped in their own trap that they don't get to do anything that they love. And I'm glad that this kind of happened for you, and now you're really on the right path for discovering and working towards something. And sorry, I just kind of went on a long rant there. Um,
No, by the way, there's a lot of attorneys that feel that way.
yeah, I imagine.
Yeah.
But also in your story there, there's two things that really stuck out to me: your persistency and also your honesty, and that those are some great traits and characteristics to have. How do you have you always been super honest, or is that just something you're kind of working on? Because a lot of people, it's difficult to when there's a job opportunity offered to them to come out forward and be like, hey, am I really the right fit for your firm because you didn't match up perfectly? So how does that
Yeah.
fall into life with you?
Actually, it's crazy that you say that because at the time I didn't feel like I probably wasn't as honest. I was like, let me just be honest about this. Not, I really do need a job, um, but I feel like being honest in general, even with yourself, like even me talking about the DUI or like things like that, it's like you have to talk about everything with full honesty. One, it sets you free. Two, it like connects you to the right people and the right things. I feel like people are afraid to be honest about things. Like everybody wants to show the best part of themselves, but like it's really we're all human. Like just you want people to like hear your story and like relate to it. And yeah, I'm just speaking about honesty in general, but yes, like at the
Yeah,
time at the time, yeah, it's very important because like if you're not selling you're like you're not selling your like you who you are to the employer, whoever you're trying to whatever you're trying
Yeah.
to do, you know?
That's so true. Yeah, and it's gonna pay dividends to you in the future, especially once you have your business and everything else kind of flowing too, because a lot of people get caught up in sales and trying to sell their coaching or their whatever their program is, and they kind of look at it as like, okay, how do I get this person to purchase my program, or how do I get this person to buy this thing? When that's selfish, and that's not, and you're just kind of setting them up, tricking them almost into paying for it. Whereas when you have genuine honesty and you go to somebody and you're talking, hey, this is my program, this is what it can do for you. Let's discover if it's a right fit for you. So then you
Um,
don't one, you're not necessarily you're attracting the right clientele and you're not tricking people in, and I really feel like that pays back big times once you when you treat
Absolutely.
people human and you look to help and solve solutions for them. Um,
Absolutely.
I would love to ask how did you so you have a pretty athletic background. How did you get into the fitness world? Is it just a transition from sports to the gym kind of thing, or could you
Goodness,
go
I
into
mean,
that
it's
a little
always been
bit?
a part of my life. Since I was a kid, my parents were like always working. I mean, really hard jobs, and like they were like, okay, after school, you guys are gonna go home and sleep and like, be a bum. You're gonna figure out a sport or like something, and if you don't like it, then you'll try a different one. Whether it's in school or whether it was like they can afford to like pay for classes on the side. Eventually, as we get older, it was always like a part of me. And in high school, even in middle school, like as like as a form of therapy, like I love to go on runs. I love to do something active all the time. I think it's so good for you. For in general, for anyone, it's all connected. Like if you're working on your fitness, it's like also loving yourself, your body. You're like you want to nourish yourself.
Yeah, I love that. So, what does your kind of training look like now in the
Well,
gym?
right now I'm just again, I'm just studying the concepts. I'm going to the gym with my tight schedule. Um, and one thing,
Prioritizing yourself, though, I like that. That's
yeah,
great.
always, always. um, and just figuring out how to program it so I can launch it. But I'm also working with like golf brands on the side, so I'm doing it all. So it's like I kept on telling myself, okay, I need to have this done by like this year, and it's like, whoa, you're doing so much. Like you don't need to like you should never be like feel like okay, just because like this person like did this that quick. It's like okay, that person's schedule could be totally different than mine. Like I am gonna get it done. I'm putting the efforts to accomplish everything while working a 9 to 5. So, um, but I'm moving like, at the best pace I can. I'm still, again, studying it, trying to film little by little as I can, some workouts, networking with other golf fitness instructors, and learning from them as I go. Like they've been in the industry longer, so we're picking each other's brains.
Yeah. Um, so, for your own personal training, are you following like a golf kind of routine are you just kind of testing out new things as you're learning more about programming and
Yeah,
exercise
I'm
selection
testing
for that?
different
Or are
things.
you, oh, okay. So, your own personal training is a little up in the air as well.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
cool. Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Testing it out, kind of figuring out the right fit for yourself and your future clients.
yeah.
Now, nutrition, was that something that you just knew that would be beneficial for working and stuff, or have you also been pretty on point with like your diet and food and things like that since you were younger, or is this all kind of new?
Um, I've always I've always been on point with that, but since I started working out so much and like people are always asking me, what do you eat? What do you eat? Like I feel like I ate healthy, but I wasn't as educated as to precise things. So when I did the golf fitness, I was like, okay, let me become a certified nutrition coach. And I'm learning a lot more as I go.
Yeah,
Which that's another side hustle that I would like to do so I can help other people be more educated on that too.
yeah, I love that. Being able to provide that information is it's crucial. It really helps a lot.
Totally.
Um,
You can work out and like even have this active lifestyle, but if you're not eating right, then it defeats the purpose too.
exactly. Um, And you had mentioned something just briefly before about how you're moving in the right direction and you're going as quickly as you can. Now, how do you stay focused, or how do you even stay conscious of the speed that you're moving so that you're not going too fast? Because I feel like if you go too fast, you can trip, you can stumble, burnout can happen. You can kind of essentially, yeah, just burn out. So how do you keep
Yeah.
yourself on track, focused, moving forward, and at an appropriate pace where you can handle yourself?
So that's something that I've definitely struggled with this journey. I've been close to the point of like burning out because I try to execute a lot. And if there's no order, then you will burn out. Like I've been very close to burning out, very close to again being like, oh my God, I can't even like I have no energy to I'm done. Like I'm done. And like I said, once you feel that is like when you should be like, okay, no, I just need to organize myself. Like this is you don't have to execute so much every single day for X amount of time. Like you, as long as you're accomplishing things like, okay, I've realized I am horrible at managing my time with my schedule. Like, so that's something that I'm working. Also, it's like, okay, I need to put like 5 tasks in a day that I need to complete today. And I don't need to complete the 100, but like those five are important each day. Um, so I'm working on it. Like I'm still learning every day, but like yes, it's so important to catch yourself when you feel like you're doing way too much and you will burn out because
Mm.
burnout is real. It's real.
So how do you know that you're getting to that point where you're kind of like pump the brakes? You do some kind of like internal inventory, like okay, hey, like I'm feeling exhausted or my workouts are kind of terrible. Like how do you know like when to dial things back and where to dial things back? Do
Because
you
I feel depleted. I'm like, okay, I need to like I end up taking like the next day I'm like I can't even like do much. Like I am burned out.
mm,
So I take a day and the next day, like I take a day where I'm just like, okay, I need to rest and relax.
mm,
I'm so mentally and physically like depleted. And then the next day I'll be like, okay, again, it's trial and error. So I'm like, okay, this didn't work out last time. So let me just try to be a little more organized here. Let me, you know, put specific tasks in a day. And like, because before I would be like, accomplish a little bit of a bunch of things and then not get them done. And then they'll just compile. And it's like, no, 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 this is not working out. This is chaotic.
yeah,
But you learn as you go,
yeah, I love that.
which
Like
I would
there,
like to know how you, because I feel like you've also spoken about like burning out. Like, what do you do when you burn out?
oh, well, I mean, I try my best to. Um, I follow my own coaching pillars. My program, I go through everything myself. I have an assessment tool that I take every so often. It gives me a grade for each different aspect or each pillar, and then that tells me, okay, where am I feeling the strongest? Where am I kind of lacking? And then I just kind of focus, like, okay, maybe life is a little too disorganized at the moment. Things are a little too chaotic where things are kind of getting out of control. Like I was just having a conversation with my girlfriend just recently saying, because I essentially have every Wednesday to Sunday from now until the end of October busy with different events and different things and stuff like that. And that's just the evenings. And then my days are packed with podcasts and clients and things like that. So that right there was a second, like, okay, it is a little overwhelming and daunting to know that I don't have very much freedom coming up. But having the awareness of that it's for a short time period and then giving myself permission to, okay, I'm going to push hard and stay on it for this time period. I call it robot mode when you kind of get into that grind, because robots are super efficient at getting things done, but they lack that awareness. And then if you stay in robot mode too long, that's when social, like your relationships with people, the relationships with your body, your own health, those things start to deteriorate because you're so focused on the grind in robot mode. So having that awareness, giving myself permission that I'm going to work for this far until the end of October, then I'm going to kind of dial things back, and then I'm going to prioritize my own rest and relaxation and reflection. So another one of my pillars is that rest and reflection. So I tend to try to make sure that I'm staying as aware as long as possible when I'm in the robot mode, so that I can check in with myself and, do I need to take some extra time? Do I need to take a day off? What, like, where can I handle, pick and choose? It's a little bit of a balancing act, but that awareness is the number one thing for me, especially when I'm grinding.
Totally, totally. And so do you have days where like you just like rest, like not do much after those grind days?
Yeah, so I want so my back and a lot of people who listen into the podcast probably know that there was a time period where I essentially was working 7 days a week, an 8 to 12 hour a day each day, essentially for 3 years.
Wow.
And it took my dad passing for me to realize it was almost 2 years after my dad passed, and I realized, hey, I'm out of shape. I'm not as strong as I should be. I I girlfriend relationship broke up, no longer there. I'm not talking to anybody, my friends. I'm missing out on parties, weddings, and those kind of things. And then I realized I was all by myself, making a lot of money, but I was grinding and I was stuck. And I realized that I wanted to bring back that human aspect because I don't want to look back on my life when I'm like 90 years old and being like, man, I grinded for 60 years, not taking any time and all by myself. Like, that's not what I want to do. So that's where I kind of stemmed into my coaching program and got everything together. And I've really developed the pillars of my coaching program so that I can continue to help other entrepreneurs and side hustlers avoid that burnout and bring back that human aspect of life. Um, but that's enough about me and everything I got going on here. I know you got the program coming up. You got it going through. So we talked a bunch on a lot of different things that you're kind of carrying through. Before we kind of get further, I wanted to ask, because a huge pillar of mine is the social setting. So I use the framework of the team triangle. So at the top of the triangle, I have the coach. And the coach is like the mentor, the person you learn from. The next tier down are your captains, like the captain of your team, where you can count on them to run practice if something's going on. You can count on them to lead and support everybody else. And then the bottom of the triangle is your crew. These are just people that you hang out with all the time. So you've got your coach, your captains, and your crew. I'm curious about you. Who do you have at the top of the triangle? Who's like a coach, mentor, someone that you look up to that you are learning from? It could be anybody from authors, books, role models, or social media, like anybody at all. Who do you have that you kind of role modeling yourself after?
Definitely authors. I'm reading a lot right now, like Shoe Dog, Phil Knight. It's very inspiring. Ray Dalio. Um, Brandon, he's coaching me. I've never had a coach, so it's really interesting. Um, Doing that every week because I'm learning a lot and how to handle things. Um, my boss, who's like my mentor, and yeah, just little, yeah, I would say that for now.
Cool. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, always reading, making sure you are consuming quality content and uh, helping level yourself up. That's great. I love that. And have basically stumbling into your mentor, your boss. That's another great thing too. I'm glad that you have a great relationship there. Um, Before we kind of keep going too far, like what what else? I know you got the program building up. Where are you currently at on that? Are you looking to be launching in by the end of this year or like early next year, or what's your time frame kind of looking like for that?
I'm hoping to at least start the program, the online program, by the end of the
Mhm.
year. So hopefully
Oh,
that I'm working on that right now.
awesome. And
Which I
so
will definitely have to pick your brain on the programming part. But
yeah, we'll definitely chat about it later on. Um, but yeah, so tell me a little bit about like your dreams for what you want to do because you said you want to have your own business, you want to do those things. Where do you see it going? So like, what's your big picture? Like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 years down the road, what are you looking forward to?
um, establish my name in the golf fitness world, definitely. Um, have clients, like build my own, like be start the business in golf and have different businesses. Learning from that one to start other ones.
Hmm?
Not specifically in golf. Like I said, I have other projects that I don't want to speak on right now until they come, but I'm working on them. So
Okay. So you got an idea for an empire down the road is what
yes,
you're basically
and
planning here.
golf will be obviously the first one that I know for a fact. I'm already learning so much as I'm going. So
Very cool. I love that. So as we're kind of wrapping up here, where can people kind of follow you? How do people stay in touch with you so that they know when your program is launching so they can dive in and hear more and learn more about that?
So they can follow me at Dani Ren underscore MIA. Um, and I will be posting with
It's
time.
on it's on Instagram, right?
Instagram. Instagram.
Cool. So that's where we're gonna check out, keep you on there. And you said you post content regularly at the moment.
Right now, I'm posting more like the brands that I'm working with, which is just like the apparel. But with time, I'm gonna start, and I'm gonna have a separate Instagram for that. I do have it, but I haven't like posted anything on it. So I will post it on that Instagram, my main one.
All right, so there you go. Got to follow Danny on Instagram in order to stay up to date when the program is going to launch and on all the brands that she's working with right now, and just for general content too. Once that starts kind
Yeah.
of pumping out a little more there, I love that. Awesome. And before we kind of wrap up, if you were to boil everything down to one piece of advice for someone to help them survive the side hustle, what would that be?
It's like I think the best advice I can give is whenever you feel like you're falling apart, like everything is just like you cannot go on. Like that's when you have to like don't give up because that's when the majority of people give up. Do not give up. Do it alone, do it sad, do it like broke, do it whatever, but just do it. Do it.
Love that. Love that. Persistency at its finest. Just keep going and push through. Danny, man, I appreciate you so much. We talked about mindset, how shifting the perspective shapes your reality. We talked a little bit on the nutrition and your fitness business, how to prevent burnout, the power of honesty. Like, packed a lot in on our episode here, and I really appreciate you taking the time. And I totally want to have you back, especially when the program launches. We can kind of talk about that and get into a little more details about that. I'm excited. And again, a busy day. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you. It was an honor.
Talk soon.
Such an honor. Bye.